Okay, Pilates mat, nice and easy. Nourishing recovery Pilates mat class. So we'll start with our feet hip distance apart. Nice big inhale, stretch up. Exhale, hands to your side. I still think this is the best way to get into a workout. Inhale. It lowers the bar. All you have to do is breathe and move your arms. And of course, you can add all of the actions, right? You can pull in and up from the center of the pelvic floor. You can engage your lower abdominal muscles and exhale. And one more time, inhale and exhale. We're going to add a bowing forward to this. So inhale, exhale to bow forward. So knees are bent and as wide as your feet. Inhale, look up. You're sticking your tailbone up, look your head up, and then exhale to bow. Inhale, come all the way up. So it's a warm up for the spine, but also for the legs. Exhale, hands to your sides. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to bow. Knees wide. Stick your bum back and inhale, lift your head up. Exhale, round your spine. Now use that pelvic floor to come in and up. So lift it in and up. Exhale. So we're going to do this one more time. I want you to focus on how you can engage your pelvic floor. Inhale, but still keep your sit bones wide. So as you exhale, bow, knees are wide, but the sit bones are widening behind you. And then look, you inhale, draw your low stomach up, but your sit bones are still wide. And exhale to bow. And then when you come up as well, keep your knees wide, keep your sit bones wide so you're not gripping your tailbone, you're using your hamstrings and your quadriceps. Exhale, hands to your sides instead. Okay, so that's just something to pay attention to. A lot of us, especially women, hug in so much and actually weaken the pelvic floor instead of having this broadening and lifting. Okay, so now come to the front of your mat. I'm going to come down through a squat just because my knees are still a little sore, but you can cross one foot in front of the other. We're going to lower ourselves with control down to sit. I actually find that easier than the crossing, right? It's easier balance and it's easier when you're tired. Heels together, arms reaching out, shoulder blades on your back. Pull that low stomach in and up. So even right here, we're working out, right? We're pulling the sides of the waist in. We're pulling in and up from the low abdominals and slowly roll back onto your low back. So you still have it right there. You're creating this container of the pelvic floor pulling in and up, the sides of the waist hugging in, right? So this could be our 100 right here. Pump your arms. Go inhale, right? And it's nice when you have the knees bent, you feel a little more round, a little more like a bowl, like you're trying to create this bowl shape by hugging the abdominal muscles in. And then the key is, can you keep that bowl shape as you stretch your legs out? And if you find that everything pops back out, then you bend your knees again and you come back to that nice bowl shape of the low back on the mat. And it's a little less stressful, but for me, I actually have more connection to those pelvic floor muscles here when I have my knees bent a little bit. And we're breathing, go inhale and exhale, shoulder blades back and down, reach through your fingertips. Inhale and exhale. And see, like, this is a little too hard for me this morning, so I'm gonna bend my knees back in, but it's good to experiment and feel that. And go inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more breaths. Go inhale and exhale. Your low back is down on the mat. And last one, inhale and exhale, 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 and then place your feet down. We're going to do the roll up. You could do the first roll up with your knees bent, or if you want to do it with straight legs, go for it. Okay, so arms come up, head comes up, and then see I use my legs to help me come up and over. It's amazing how much you use your abdominal muscles to run. Okay, shoulder blades on your back. Like, my abdominals start getting pretty sore in a long distance run. I can actually feel them sore to the touch. It always is kind of fascinating to me. Exhale, hands back, arms come up, head comes up, and we're curling up and working that flexibility of the spine. This is a great one, just a really good basic movement to get the lymph flowing, to get the spine moving, the fluids of the spine moving, and nice and easy with the breath. Inhale, curl up, and of course you can make it easier by bending your knees and kind of keeping that flow going. Just notice that when you over effort, you actually block the flow, right? And the flow, I mean, like, quite literally, the flow of various fluids around the body, the energetic flow, like the nervous impulses. those are inhibited when we're tense, when we're overdoing. So we want to keep those moving for sure. One more, arms up, head up, especially in our exercise practice, which is meant to be, to some degree, nourishing, restorative. So I go inhale, right when it gets difficult, I inhale and exhale right there. Okay. Find a strap. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that at the very beginning. Do you have a strap? Do you have a belt? Do you have anything? Anything you can use? Oh boy. Even a pair of jeans will work, or a shirt you don't mind stretching out. A pair of long socks, that'll work too. Okay, so you're gonna hook behind your right toes and stretch that right leg long. And then soften the shoulders back toward the earth. Reach through that right heel. Make sure your left leg is kneecap and toes straight up to the sky. Often it wants to rotate open. We're going to try to turn it in, and that'll help us use those inner thigh muscles a little bit on the left leg. Okay, then we're going to point and flex through those right toes, moving that ankle, just getting the flexibility, fluidity in the tissues there. And the hardest part for me of my run on Sunday was about 30 miles of it was on pavement, and I don't run on pavement that much. So that was really felt that in my feet and ankles. A lot of congestion in the tissue now, a lot of swelling. And so this is like the perfect movement. If you ever walk, you're like a tourist walking around a city, you might have that feeling in your feet at the end of the day where they get really puffy. This is actually great activity. Get the ankles moving, get the feet moving. Okay, now turn your toes open to the right. We're going to cross that foot over to the left a little bit. Take your right arm off to the right. So we're grounding the pelvis back, flat on the mat, and shoulder blades back. The other good thing about this, of course, is the foot is above the heart. So you're helping that circulation that way too with a little gravity. And you might even hang out with your leg up high, up against a wall if you've been walking all day, to help release some of that swelling. Okay, come back to center. We'll tick-tock back and forth a little bit. And as you tick-tock, let's externally rotate the right leg. So we're getting to all of those muscles on the leg to stretch. Pelvis is still flat, abdominals down. Relax your neck and shoulders. Come back to center. Put the strap to the side, hands to your side, and we'll do leg circles. Pull that leg in toward you, across the body, down, and kick it up. Now, I can do this, honestly, but it feels a little heavy. My leg feels a little resisting. So if I bend my knee, all of a sudden I'm dropping back. My adrenals aren't having to fire. The muscles around my adrenals, I should say. I don't have to tighten that part of my back. Let's reverse the circle out to the right for 5. So I just like to point that out. It's like attune to the tension of your body. It's like I can muscle through the straight leg version. I can do that, right? But I don't need to. I can also go through this and get my abdominals to fire and drop more into the center line. Good. Place that leg down and take your left leg up. So I'm just saying the hardest path is not always the best path. And that is, I know, a little bit of counter to every other exercise video that you watch, but I will be that voice today. Okay, so now we got hooked behind our left toes with whatever our stretching devices, which, by the way, could be your hand. It's just, for most of us, the foot's a little far away. Okay, so the right knee and toes are facing straight up. And I've got that little internal rotation in my right leg so that I'm stretching through that inner thigh down to the ground. And left leg, I'm going to point and flex through that ankle, just working that movement. Okay, so another place you could over effort is if you're very flexible, you're over straightening your knee and you're actually putting tension into the back of the knee. Now that's different than stretching. I know a lot of people who feel a lot of tug at the back of the knee, but that's different than hyperextending. Okay, so we gotta figure that one out over time. That the top of the shin is coming forward a little tiny bit. There's space and flow behind the knee, even if it's tight. I can feel some sense of openness. It's not over open. Okay, and then back to neutral. We'll turn our toes open to the left, cross over to the right. It's holding that shoulder distance, left arm off to the left. Relax the back of the pelvis into the mat. So there's this feeling of fullness from really the top of my tailbone up my spine to the base of my ribs and even between my shoulder blades. That's all softening back into the ground. It's not effortless. I have to use these front abdominal muscles to make that happen. Okay, now we're going to cross, so I'm going to use those abdominals to hold as I go back and forth. It's not effortless, but there is a sense of kind of groundedness to it. There's not a tension, there's not a pulling up, there's not an over exertion there. It really does have this feeling of, oh, okay, I'm back in my back body. That feels good. And honestly, right now in the world, like that's probably the workout we need the most, is the one that, sinks us back into ourself. Okay, come back to center, put your strap to your side, and leg circles, which traditionally, of course, is done with straight legs. So we go across the body down and kick it up. But then check it out. Some days, handling that level of tension is just right for you. And that kind of challenge is going to enliven you and make you feel strong and centered in your body. And some days, that level of effort, let's reverse directions, is going to pull you up and out. It's going to harden you, right? It's going to make you feel more kind of defensive or aggressive toward the world. So let's notice that, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to bend my knee so I can be dropped back into my spine, back into my core. Last one, and we'll place that leg down. So it's just developing that sensitivity for yourself about what you need. Okay, arms come up, head comes up. We're going to do the roll up, nice and easy. Again, I could bend my knees there and rolling like a ball. Perch, hold on to your ankles. Shoulders nice and soft, and I just drop into my core. Rock back and back up, and rock back and back up. And again, just massaging the spine. That's one of the big purposes of this exercise. Try to keep your heels close to your hips if you can. And if you can't, don't worry about it. You hold on to the back of the legs and you just do it as a nice massage. Let's do one more and back up. Okay, abdominal series. We're going to hold on to the right knee, stretch that left leg long, sink it back. So it's such a good day for me to just remember, right? To sink back into my back body, back into the earth, and then switch legs. And again, I'm just extending out through that leg and just sink back. And this is why I do Pilates, is so that after I run 50 miles, I have this available to me, right, as this grounding tool. I don't just have to lay in a puddle in my bed for several days. I actually have these tools to help nourish and restore. Now we'll go with rhythm, okay? So we go inhale, inhale. So I always say that it's like Pilates is much about preparing yourself to handle future challenges, either ones you choose to do, like going on long runs, or ones you don't choose, like falling and breaking your arm, or who knows what, right? But it gives you this space in your body that you can come back to in times of adversity. You want to create this home base, literally this home base. This part is this place I can come home to and soften into and be with, and it's familiar and it's strong and it's nourishing, and rest. Okay, hold on to the outer shins, double leg stretch. Curl your head and chest up. Inhale, reach, and exhale, hug in. So again, adjust the height of your legs, right? So keep it nourishing. Exhale, that word is sort of starts to feel a little meaningless when we say it too much. But what I'm referring to is this sense of, am I pulling out of myself when I do the exercise? Am I pulling out of myself right there, or am I still able to really hug into myself? And you have to develop that awareness, right? Right there, exhale. And again, you can add more exertion, make yourself hug in more, exhale, but make sure you really can hug in and you're not getting flying away, pulling away. Last one, reach out, inhale, and exhale, rest. Okay. Scissors, hold on to the back of your legs. So this is one for a lot of people that creates stress through having to hold the head and neck up. And if you have a block, you could use that, right? I could put that behind here, and immediately that just releases the tension. So that's an option, okay? Everyone, curl your head and chest up, stretch your legs up toward the sky, heels together, And I will curl my head and chest up because to me, this feels like a good home base. Okay, hold on to your right leg, left leg lengthens, and switch. Right leg lengthens, shoulder blades down. I think for those of us that have a little more of a low back bend, this is actually quite soothing because I'm getting to really round and stretch that low back here, and it feels good to have that space between those low back vertebrae. So for me, this is a little more of a calming exercise. I think for most people, it's the opposite. They feel a little stressed out about their head and neck. And last breath, inhale, inhale and exhale. Exhale and drop both knees in and rest. Okay, now double leg stretch definitely is one where we could go into that flexion, that extension of the back where we're going into an arch, and that is stressful, okay? And that will fire up the muscles around your adrenals and create a little bit of adrenaline. So if you want that to wake up, then you'll do more effort in this exercise. If you want to stay grounded, it's the end of the day, you don't want adrenaline, then we're gonna back off on this pose, okay? So holding onto the shins, curl your head and chest up, one hand behind the other at the base of the skull, stretch your legs up. Okay, so how do you back off on this pose? One, you can just hold right here. Two, you can bend your knees, heels together, knees apart. And again, I've immediately created this groundedness through the abdominals. Okay, and then three, I just don't go that far down and pull in and up. So if you're doing this at home, I want you to do about 8. Okay, and feel free to really challenge yourself, but you have to stay grounded. Literally, your low back has to stay on the ground, okay? So feel that right at the base of the rib cage. That is not going to move. Hold that spot right at the base of the rib cage. Keep that down on the mat. Don't let it lift up. We're doing 2 more. Lower, 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 and exhale. Breathing always helps you stay grounded. Last one, inhale down and exhale up and rest. Okay? Crisscross. Hold on to your shins. Curl your head and chest up. One hand behind the other at the base of the skull. Left leg goes long. And we go slow, cross, cross, and lift up. And we go slow, lift up, and nice and slow, but breathing. Inhale, exhale, and switch. Go inhale and exhale, curl up a little higher, and then switch. And go inhale and exhale, curl up a little higher. And we just go nice and slow. I don't know if there's anything relaxing about this exercise for anybody, but it's a great one to get into the sides of the waist. Your low back is down. Make sure you're not tugging on your neck. Your head is resting back in your hands. And last one, curl up, 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 and rest. All right. Hold on to your knees, rock yourself up to sit, and we'll do spine stretch forward. Okay, so here's a place where people get really tense in the top of their thighs. That doesn't happen for me, but if it did and you wanted to not have that experience, which is unhelpful to be honest, that the experience of being tense in the thighs, you could sit up on a block because it's really worth getting those thigh bones to ground down to the ground. Having the thigh muscles pulling up is a sure source of tension through the whole spine, the whole organ system. So I got really grounding the thighs down, arms out, and then I'm lifting up out of those thighs from the waistline. Inhale and exhale to round. Inhale back up, but I'm not lifting through my shoulders. Exhale to round. So I'm just really mobilizing the upper back, not the shoulders so much, and rounding. In fact, I'm teaching the shoulders to just sort of stay put. They might extend a little bit, but then I draw them right back on. Inhale, exhale to round. Inhale back up. And exhale to round. Inhale back up. Bend your knees. Hold on to the back of your legs. And you can extend your legs. I slide myself forward so I make sure I'm actually on my mat. So same for you. Make sure there's nothing behind you you're going to roll onto. And extending the legs either into tabletop or all the way. Open leg rocker, feet only as wide as your shoulders. Rock back. So it's a little narrower than you might think. rock back. That allows me to hug the midline in. Inhale and exhale back up. And you go back. And technically you exhale on the way up just because it's the harder action. So anytime the harder action is when we are exhaling, we use the exhale to help us, at least in Pilates. It's done differently in different exercise routines. Okay, and then we're going to come right onto our back, legs up to the sky, hands to your sides, heels together, corkscrew. So I'm going to really ground my low back into the earth. Let's do this one again where we curl the head and chest up and just lift the hips up and back down. And lift the hips up and back down. Again, I think I like this because I have a strong low back curve, and here I'm lengthening that curve and getting space in my vertebrae. And lift, but I'm not arching anything, nothing on the upper back arches. One more time, lift up and back down. Now, head down, circle your legs around to the right, pull them in the center. Left, pull them in the center. Go right now. If you want to lift up just the pelvis, place it back down. Left, lift up just the pelvis, right, and center. Good. And then we'll come up. And what I mean by that is you're not lifting your upper back at all on that. You're not arching. Okay. The saw, sitting nice and tall. Inhale, turn to your right and reach. Pinky finger out past pinky toe. Come up and turn and reach. And up and turn and reach. And we're just rounding that upper back, lifting up through the abdominal muscles to lengthen the sides of your waist. Stay up out of the hip flexors by lifting up out of them as you ground your thigh bones. And one more to the left and reach. And we'll come over onto the stomach. So this is also a great way to approach your practice if you've had a cold or some other illness, unmentionable illness, and you're just coming back, getting into your body. Make sure you're really well rested before you do any exercise. It's good to exercise to recover, but not if it makes you more tired and then your immune system has to work harder. Okay, so we got the pelvis down, lift the abdominals in and up, look to your right, circle your chin down and around, look to your left and back to center. Look left, circle down and look right and center. Look right, circle, still pulling the abdominals in and up and center and look left, circle, look right and center. Come all the way down onto your stomach. Pull those low abdominal muscles in. Pelvis is pushing down. That means pubic bone, pelvic bones are pushing down into the mat. Go ahead and lift your legs off the mat. Okay, keep your hands down for a moment. Keep your head mostly down, either actually on the mat or between your arms. Pelvis is down, legs are lifted. Bend your right knee. Keep your knee off the ground and straighten it. Bend your left knee. Keep your knee off the ground and straighten it. Both knees are off the ground. Okay, before you go any further, check. Are you lengthening your low back? Pull your abdominals in and up. Bend your right knee. Straighten. Bend your left knee. Straighten. Good. Come all the way down. Rest. So that's a good prep for single leg stretch that we do in a minute, just to show you where that's actually supposed to happen, how you're supposed to hold that pelvis steady like that. Now, swan prep, we also take the arms up. So pushing the pubic bone down, pelvis down, lift your abdominals, lift your legs, lift your arms. Get that extension out of the low back. Reach your inner thighs, use your butt muscles, but keep the pelvic floor broad, right? So you're not clenching your tailbone, you're reaching, extending, and then rest. Okay, and one more time. Stretch the arms out, push the pelvis down, legs up, arms up, head up, really extending out of the front of the hips, hugging the sides of the hip muscles, and that is a great sophisticated action to keep working on. How can you get this to fire without gripping your tailbone? And rest. It is very possible, I promise you. Okay, and then we'll sit all the way back on the heels and stretch out the low back, extended child's pose just for a moment, and then coming back out onto our forearms for single leg kick. So you could do, in our classes at our studio, we go like this with the knuckle to knuckle, just to stretch the wrists. Okay, pubic bone down, my elbows are mostly under my shoulders, and I'm going right leg to kick, 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 and left, kick, kick. Now, remember that action where you have the knees off the ground. Okay, so try that. Pubic bone down, legs lift. Can you do that comfortably on your low back? That is an interesting challenge. The answer is probably no, but if you can, keep working it. This is great work for the hamstrings. My knees are lifted off the floor, my hamstrings are fired, and then I go kick, kick, and kick, kick. Why did I choose to do this one today? Good God. Okay, kick, kick, and kick, kick, and rest. Okay, come all the way down. I just like to show people that I was showing that to Jerome the other day about how to fire his hamstrings in that exercise. Turn your head to one side, one hand on top of the other. Let the elbows rest. My hands are as high up my back as I can get them, elbows falling to the mat, and then both legs toward each other. Kick your hips. You go 1, 2, 3, look forward and scrunch that upper back. And then rest the elbows. Kick, 2, 3, and scrunch, hug in and open the collarbones, and then rest. Go kick, 2, 3, and look up. So it's as much about opening the front as tightening the back. And then rest. Turn your head the other way. Kick, 2, 3, and lift, big opening. And turn. Go kick, 2, 3, and lift, big opening. And we're going to do one more. And kick, 2, 3, and open those collarbones. Use your low stomach to support your low back and come down. Good. Okay. And then we'll sit all the way back, turn ourselves around for the neck pull. The neck pull is one where we can do a really nice, grounded version. We don't have to make it stressful. So feet are hip distance apart, toes up to the sky. Let's do one hand in front of the other on front of the forehead. And again, my thigh bones have to try to release a little bit here. I've got to try to push them down to the ground. That's a project for some people, just to keep working on that. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, round over upper back. Inhale, sit tall. And then hinge it back. And then where I start to feel that tension across the kidneys, across the low back, I'm going to lift up through the front of the chest and lengthen through the sides of my waist and come back up and round. And inhale, sit tall, and lift up, lift up, lift up, and then hinge back up and round. Okay, if you know the full exercise, feel free, but this is a really nice beginner version of this, of just lifting up and trying to get that length through the sides of my waist as I ground my pelvis back down and round. So that really is the key, is that one part has to stay grounded. We're just going to do it one more time. One part has to stay grounded as everything else lifts, and that's what keeps it kind of more, well, actually it's more advanced, but it's also more relaxed in a sense. Okay, now we're just going to roll onto our back, right, doing like a reverse roll up, the roll down, and bend your knees, and we'll prepare for the bridge. Rest your head, hands by your sides, palms face down, upper back is rounding into the mat. You want to get good at that familiar feeling of, actually, almost at first, it's like the chest is sinking, but then once the back of the chest is sunk into the mat, the front of the chest opens, but you keep the back of the chest sunk. That is a great practice for a lot of people, particularly women who tend to overextend the upper spine, the upper chest, and flatten the upper back. Let's round the upper back into the earth. Got it? And then open the top of the chest. So you can do both at the same time. Sometimes I talk about how the rib cage is like an almond. If you're looking from the top down, you're almond shaped. So both the front and the back are round. And there's this nice bright space in the middle. It's not collapsed, it's not dented almond. It's a nice full almond. So just feeling that really useful practice for a lot of us, just to get familiar with what that is. Okay. Especially if you've been flattening one or the other your whole life, one front or back. Push into your feet. Now, you actually get to keep that almond shape in the upper spine as you lift your hips. So that's a funny one, right? You have to actually really sink your upper back into the earth, but keep the front of the chest full. So again, just feeling that balance. We're shifting often on this, at this exercise, we focus on the pelvis, but I want you to, for a moment, just focus on that upper back curve. You're actually getting a little flexibility in your upper back through this exercise. Your hips are in line with your knees and shoulders, just pushing into your feet. Breathe into the upper back and then breathe into the collarbone. So notice how your shoulders are back here, right? I mean, they're back in line. You don't have to push them back. They're just there by the position of the body. Okay, hold that. Shift your weight to your left foot, and let's just draw the knee up to the chest and keep your hips really steady. Just take a big inhale here, full exhale, another inhale, and then as you exhale, place that foot down. Keep your hips there, nice and steady. Shift to the right foot. Draw your left knee up. Just hold it there. Push into your foot, big inhale. Full exhale, are you trying to tense up your upper back? Don't, right? Let it go. Big inhale. And then exhale, place that foot down and come down. So just notice how much you try to use your upper back and shoulders to stabilize your pelvis. It's not going to really work. So that's a great habit to kind of work on and change. All right, so let's draw the knees to the chest. We're going to rock up and come over for side kicks on the left side. We'll bring the hand under the head. Feet are off the front edge of the mat. Hips and shoulders are lined up at the back edge. Top leg is reaching over. Top hand in front to support you a little bit. Keep your gaze forward. Top leg lifts. And we kick it forward and back. And go kick, kick, and back. Keep reaching that top leg out. There you go. Kick, kick, and back. You could turn your knee up to the sky a little bit if you wanted to work the back of the legs, or you could work the foot parallel to the floor. That's sort of our more natural walking gait. And last one, and back. And then going heel over heel. Now make sure that top heel is reaching out over the bottom heel and lift up the leg and reach it down. You can do a little point and flex here, is working the ankle, point the toes, and then flex on your way down. So you point through that ankle and flex on your way down. Go point and flex and point and reach out. See if I can get past that bottom heel. And last one, point and flex. And then little circles. Just go 1, 2, nice and gentle, still supporting through my abdominals. And reverse. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bending that top knee and holding on. Lift your bottom leg up and it pulses up for 1. This is a nice soothing part, I think, for a lot of people. Not everybody, but for a lot of people. The leg circles, leg kicks part, and then little circles. It's like, oh, okay, I can kind of rest my neck. I can kind of just focus on the lower abdominals for a moment. Reverse your circles. It's a nice hip stretch. So let it be a regrounding, right? Like let it be a place where you can come back into yourself. You don't have to make every moment stressful in your exercise routine. Top leg comes over, and we're just going to use scissors. So we're lifting the legs, and the top leg comes forward, the bottom leg goes back. Try to balance, relax your neck and shoulders, and then switch and try to balance. And then 5 kicks. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lift both legs up, try to lift both arms up, balance, and roll on to your second side. We're going head to toe here. So my shoulders and hips are lined up, toes off the front edge of the mat, top heel reaches out past that bottom heel. Just resting my front fingertips to help me a little bit. Look straight forward, so try to find that line up the spine, top leg lifts, and we go kick forward and back. And check that you're not lifting the leg in the back. Yep, so it's just gliding parallel to the floor. Often it lifts to the back because we go a little too far. We try to make the range of motion a little too much, and then we have to lift to take it back further. So just don't go so far back. Right? Keep the leg parallel, go as far as you can. And you could turn your knees a little bit up to the sky if you want to work more on those back butt muscles. And back, and one more, kick, kick, and back. Let's go heel over heel, and we point up and reach out. So getting some of that ankle mobility, pointing and reach, and point and reach, and point and reach. Just one more, point and reach it long, and little circles there. Go 1, 2, like you're trying to brush your heels. 3, 4, 5, reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend that knee, cross it over, lift your bottom leg up, and just little pulses. So a lot of this for me is just about getting a nice hip stretch in that top hip. For some people, it's circle. It's about figuring out how to get the bottom knee to straighten, the circling knee to straighten and not throw your foot and ankle into the whole activity reverse. So some of it's about control, mind, body conversation. Some of it's about stretching. Mostly it's all pretty relaxed and grounding. Good. And then both legs out. Both legs lift. Top leg forward, bottom leg back. That's the harder direction to balance. So see if you can work that. And then switch. This one should be a little bit easier. Maybe you can take your hand off the mat. And then 5 kicks. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's it. That's all for high scissors. And both arms balance. And we roll onto our back for teaser. Okay, so teaser has the potential to be quite stressful for people, in part because the hip flexors get tight, and that will cause a feeling of stress and discomfort. In part because it's a hard exercise, right? You have to really stay grounded with your abdominals to do this exercise properly. Most people want to push out when they effort. They want to literally push away from the spine. So try really hugging in. And the trick is I say really hugging in, but it's not a grip. If you grip, it won't work. So start with your knees bent. Just drop toward your chest. Take your arms up to the sky. Drop your shoulders. Okay, so here, everything is hugged into the spine. As soon as I curl my head and chest up, there's a temptation to push the belly out. Drop back in, drop back in. Now that's going to immediately make you feel stuck like a turtle on its back. How am I going to get up from there? Let's use the legs. So draw the knees in a little bit, send the legs away, hug the stomach in. And there I am. And that is the most low stress teaser, right? And then I hug the knees in and round back. Let's just do that one more time. So as I come up, I'm dropping the stomach, sending the knees away. Okay, so the knee action allows you to keep the stomach back. Ready? So as I rock back, I'm pulling my stomach and knees in. Once you get the hang of hugging the stomach in, you don't need the knees so much. I could have the knees further out here, hug my stomach in, and then the legs straighten and I come up. Okay, leave the legs there, pull your stomach in, draw your knees in. But learning that action right here of pull the stomach in, and now I'm like stuck flat on my back. What do? Just a little bit of stretch, that opposition of the legs will help me pull my stomach in more to get up. Okay, so that's the trick. Opposition of the legs to pull my stomach in. We're gonna do it one more time. Okay, opposition of the legs going that way toward the top of up toward my feet and my stomach pulling in and up toward my head. It's very counterintuitive for a lot of people. So I curl up, pull my stomach in toward my head, reach my legs that way. See that? So I don't have to pop my stomach out. And now, hands behind you, come onto your forearms, bend your knees. Drop your heels toward your hips, and we'll take the knees to the right, to the left, to the right, and kick. And then go left, right, left, and kick, and go right, left. So we're just massaging the back of the sacrum today. This is a very mellow version of hip circles, and left, and kick, and then come all the way onto your stomach for swimming. Stretching your arms out, head down, reach your legs back, and come to a low hover, push the pelvis down, left arm up, right leg up, right arm, left leg up, and just swim for 5 breaths. Go kick, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I should have said 1 breath, sorry. Okay, and then we're coming back for straight arm plank. 30 seconds. You're gonna tuck your toes. How do you take a relaxed straight arm plank? That is a great question. You place your knees down on the mat is what you do. So hands are spread mat distance apart, fingers spread wide. We'll start with knees right up off the mat. So come on up, tuck your toes under. Yep. And so as long as this feels grounded, as long as I feel like I can hug the sides of my waist and my abdominals in, and I have my breath, I have a little bit of movement, I can move side to side. I'm always testing that. I used to get yelled at in yoga classes because, not yelled at, but I used to get quietly talked to for not holding still. Why are you always moving? I was like, I want to move. Okay, that's 30 seconds. I want to move. I want to feel that my body is, doing the right thing, as in like I'm in it and I'm breathing and I'm able to be present. Okay, we're going to come into mermaid actually, sitting on we switched those up, but that's okay. We're going to sit on the left hip, right hand to your top ankle. So my knees are stacked or one on top of the other. It's a pretty casual position, honestly. Whatever makes your knees happy. Take your arm up to the sky. Relax the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, this rounding. And up. And anytime I've been sick or run down or I've run a long ways, I want to open up the side body. One more time, reaching over. I want to get that back open because that's going to help the breath a lot. Arms come out to your sides, T position. We start to lean over, and then that top arm reach your top hip away. Get a big side stretch there. And then back up and over. And inhale and exhale. So we're opening up the sides of the ribs, getting that lymph to move, and up. And one more time, reaching, grounding the hips, coming out. I could do a T position, or I could bend that elbow in a little bit to help with the leverage so I don't have to fall. To reach your top hip away, big side stretch, and back up. And then we'll send our feet over to the second side. But a lot of times we don't realize it's the side body that gets sort of tightened down when we've had some big thing happen to us. It's like a squeezing shut of the clamshell. Clam gets scared and clamps down. Inhale. Maybe we're not so different. I don't know. Come up. So after you've had a big thing like that, you want to reopen the sides. Let them relax a little bit. Allow for a little more breath and movement in the middle. And back up, and then arms into T position. And again, you could bend that elbow. It's a little less leverage on the way down. Reach your top hip away. Big side stretch. Yeah, ground that top hip back toward your heels. And then come back up and over. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And one more time. Stretching. And then arms out. Over onto your side. Top arm reaches. You can do palm up or palm down. And then back up. And we'll just spin to the front for seals. So dive your hands through. Hold on to your ankles and balance. Shoulder blades back. And we go 1, 2, 3, rock back. 1, 2, 3, up, 2, 3. So the less stressful version of this, or if your back is stiff, is you just let your feet go further away from your hips, right? The more advanced version is to have the heels quite close to the hips the whole time. And I can just keep my rocks nice and easy. We're going to do one more here, and under your hands, cross your feet, and come to stand and see, look, I can assist myself. Isn't that nice? We have options. Arms come up, and we're going to do a set of 5 push-ups because, why not? Exhale, over. Walk your hands out, out, out. Hold your plank, and then I'm from my plank position. I keep wanting to teach people this because they don't quite get the knees down push-up thing. But look, I'm just putting my knees down. I'm keeping that line, head, hips, knees, right in a line. And that's how I do the push-ups there. I'm trying to build shoulder strength and integrity, right? So right here, we're going 5. And maybe I just do a little tiny bit if I'm working on getting my elbows back. 4, right? I go a little bit deeper. 3, 2. Ultimately, I like to get everything down on the mat. And last, 1. And then knees up, hips up, walk your hands back. 2, 3, come all the way up to stand, reaching up to the sky. Big stretch. Now lift through the sides of your waist, ground through your legs. Keep that lift through the top of your chest. And we're done.